You are all aware on what condition you are supposed to shoot at the enemy.
Rumors of a military coup against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu spread like wildfire across Nigeria in early October 2025. Social media went into a frenzy. Twitter Spaces, WhatsApp groups, and online news platforms buzzed with speculation. Some called it fake news, others insisted something serious was happening behind the scenes. Nigeria, a nation already battling rising inflation, fuel scarcity, insecurity, and political tension, suddenly found itself gripped by fear of a possible military takeover. Many Nigerians, weary from years of economic hardship, felt that the whispers of a coup reflected a deeper national frustration, a feeling that democracy had not delivered the change they hoped for. In this episode, we dive deep into the events and controversies that surrounded the alleged coup attempt. We'll unpack the online reports, the military's response, and President Tinubu's surprising and calculated reaction that followed just weeks later. But beyond the headlines, a critical question remains. Did President Tinubu truly crush a silent coup attempt, or did he use the moment to reassert and consolidate his power? Background to the rumored coup. The story began in the first week of October 2025, when Sahara reporters published a shocking revelation. According to the online outlet, the Defense Intelligence Agency, known as the DIA, had detained 16 military officers for allegedly plotting to overthrow President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government. The report alleged that the planned coup was scheduled to occur on October 1st, Nigeria's Independence Day. The date, symbolic and patriotic, immediately captured public imagination. The report further claimed that the plot involved both serving and retired military officers, with some civilian collaborators quietly offering logistical and financial support. According to the report, the group had been under surveillance for months, and arrests were made just days before the supposed coup date. Sahara reporters claimed that the officers had already held secret meetings to coordinate the movement of troops in key locations in Abuja, including the Presidential Villa, the National Assembly, and military command centers. Within hours, the alleged coup story dominated Nigerian cyberspace. Hashtags like #coup in Nigeria, #Tinubu, and #militaryplot began trending. Memes, voice notes, and speculative videos flooded WhatsApp groups, with some users sharing old footage of military trucks and soldiers as supposed evidence of an imminent coup. Across the country, anxiety spread. Some Nigerians expressed fear of a possible return to military rule, recalling the dark years before democracy was restored in 1999. Others expressed open support for the idea, frustrated by what they called worsening governance and economic decline. In the words of one online commentator, if a coup will reset Nigeria, maybe it's time. While these sentiments trended online, official channels remained silent until the defense headquarters finally responded. Official denials and government response. The defense headquarters, in a strongly worded statement, dismissed the Sahara reporters' publication as false, malicious, and intended to cause unnecessary tension in the country. The military insisted that there was no coup plot, no overthrow attempt, and no credible threat to national stability. However, the statement confirmed that 16 officers were indeed in custody, but not for coup plotting. According to the military, the officers were being investigated for indiscipline and breach of service regulations. It emphasized that the arrests were part of normal internal disciplinary processes and had no political connection whatsoever. The federal government echoed the same message. Presidential aides described the coup rumor as the work of political propagandists trying to distract the nation and undermine confidence in the administration. Curiously, the Independence Day military parade in Abuja, a long-standing tradition, was suddenly cancelled. Officials cited administrative reasons and budgetary constraints, but the timing raised eyebrows. Many Nigerians wondered whether the cancellation had more to do with security fears than administrative planning. Critics and opposition politicians were not convinced. They questioned why the military had detained so many officers and yet insisted there was no coup attempt. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, and other opposition voices accused the Tinubu administration of playing mind games with the public. They argued that if there was no coup, there was clearly something else the government was hiding. In the words of one commentator, if nothing was wrong, why the tension? Why the denials? And why the sudden changes within the security hierarchy? These doubts set the stage for a deeper public debate that would dominate national conversations for weeks. Public and expert reactions. As the rumor continued to spread, analysts began to offer explanations. Some political observers noted that the coup speculation was not necessarily about the military's intention, but about the public's perception. In times of hardship, rumors become an outlet for frustration. Nigeria's economic challenges, rising fuel prices, unstable power supply, unemployment, and insecurity had created a national mood of distrust. For many citizens, the idea of a coup resonated emotionally, even if it was unrealistic. It was a symbol of dissatisfaction, a reflection of their belief that the government had lost touch with the people. Experts on civil-military relations also weighed in. They warned that even the rumor of a coup could be dangerous for a fragile democracy. Nigeria, they reminded the world, had experienced multiple coups between 1966 and 1993. Although democracy had endured for over 2 decades, distrust between civilians and the military still lingered beneath the surface. The African Democratic Congress accused the Tinubu administration of deliberately amplifying the rumor to justify future crackdowns on dissent. The party alleged that the government might be using the narrative of national security as a shield against opposition voices and activist groups. Beyond Nigeria's borders, the coup rumor triggered regional anxiety. In recent years, several West African countries, including Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea, had fallen under military rule. Each coup had been justified by claims of bad governance and corruption. The pattern created a climate of fear that the contagion could spread. The question on many lips was simple but chilling. Could Nigeria, Africa's largest democracy, be the next domino to fall? For weeks, the rumor persisted. Yet, amidst all the noise and uncertainty, one thing became clear: President Tinubu was not taking chances. Behind the scenes, he was preparing to make a move that would send a message to both his allies and his critics, that he remained firmly in control of Nigeria's power structure. Tinubu's strategic response. On October 24, 2025, barely 3 weeks after the coup rumors first made headlines, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made a move that caught both supporters and critics off guard. In a late-evening announcement from the presidency, Tinubu approved a sweeping shake-up of Nigeria's military leadership. The Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, and the Chief of Air Staff were all replaced in one decisive stroke. The announcement came without warning, but the message behind it was unmistakable. Tinubu was reasserting control over the most powerful institution in the country, the Nigerian Armed Forces. For many observers, the timing was no coincidence. Just weeks earlier, the government had spent days battling the narrative of a coup plot. Now, Tinubu appeared to be taking no chances. By changing the entire leadership structure of the military, he was closing ranks, eliminating uncertainty, and surrounding himself with loyalists he could trust. Analysts described the move as a calculated show of strength, a preemptive strike against internal dissent. Some likened it to a silent purge. It was, in every sense, a clear message to the barracks and beyond: Tinubu is in charge, and loyalty is not up for negotiation. Comparisons quickly emerged with his predecessor, former President Muhammadu Buhari, himself a retired general. Buhari, despite his military background, was often criticized for being slow to act when faced with national challenges, especially those involving security. Tinubu, on the other hand, demonstrated a civilian's understanding of power: swift, strategic, and unapologetically political. This reshuffle was not just about command appointments. It was a political statement. Tinubu was telling the country and the world that his presidency would not be intimidated by rumors, nor would it be undermined by elements within the system. As one political commentator put it, Buhari governed with caution, but Tinubu governs with calculation. This move was not a reaction, it was a declaration. Through that bold restructuring, Tinubu reminded the military that the era of quiet disloyalty or hidden political sympathies within the ranks was over. It was a move that redefined the power equation between the commander-in-chief and his commanders. Consolidation of power. With the reshuffle complete, Tinubu achieved something far more significant than a routine change of leadership. He consolidated his power. In a country where the military has historically played a decisive role in shaping politics, Tinubu's move was as much psychological as it was administrative. By replacing all service chiefs at once, he neutralized any lingering sense of collective influence among the old guard. Each new appointee owed their position directly to him, and that loyalty became their first duty. The symbolism was powerful. Tinubu, often underestimated by his critics, had turned what began as a rumor of weakness into an opportunity to demonstrate authority. It was a masterclass in political timing. For the political elite, the message was clear: power flows from the presidency, not from the barracks. For the military establishment, it was a reminder that their place is within the chain of command, not above it. Still, reactions were mixed. Supporters applauded the president's firmness, calling it the kind of leadership Nigeria needed in turbulent times. They argued that Tinubu's quick and confident decision-making contrasted sharply with the indecisiveness of past leaders. However, critics voiced concern that the move reflected a growing trend towards centralization of power. They warned that Tinubu's approach, while effective, might also silence dissent and weaken institutional independence. Some described it as command democracy, a system where civilian rule begins to mimic the very authoritarianism it seeks to prevent. Political analysts debated whether Tinubu's action was defensive, a move to protect himself from possible threats, or offensive, a demonstration of dominance to cement his control. Either way, the message landed. Tinubu had successfully turned a potential crisis into a reaffirmation of supremacy. In the corridors of power, few doubted that the president had emerged stronger, more confident, and more in command than ever before. Political implications and future outlook. Beyond the immediate drama, the implications of the alleged coup and Tinubu's response are profound. For Nigeria's democracy, the episode served as both a warning and a revelation. It exposed how fragile the line remains between civilian authority and military influence. Even after 25 years of uninterrupted democracy, the mere whisper of a coup was enough to send shockwaves through the country. That alone speaks volumes about the nation's collective memory of its past. Tinubu's decisive response may now serve as a reference point for future Nigerian presidents, a case study in how to manage internal threats through swift political control rather than prolonged dialogue. It also reinforces the idea that in Nigeria's power dynamics, perception is everything. The mere appearance of control can be as powerful as control itself. Internationally, Tinubu's actions have also drawn attention from regional leaders. Within ECOWAS, where multiple member states have fallen under military regimes in recent years, Nigeria's stability is symbolic. Tinubu's survival and his firm hand signal that Nigeria will not follow the same path as its neighbor. But there is another side to the coin. Critics warn that using rumors to justify power consolidation can set a dangerous precedent. If every political threat, real or imagined, is met with a purge or reorganization, Nigeria risks drifting into a pattern where security becomes a pretext for silencing opposition. Still, one fact cannot be ignored. Whether or not a coup was truly in motion, President Tinubu used the moment to send a message of supremacy, control, and resilience. He made it clear that no shadow within the military, no whisper of rebellion, and no rumor of conspiracy could stand against the authority of the commander-in-chief. In the end, the story of Nigeria's rumored October coup can be summarized in 4 words: allegation, denial, action, and supremacy. An allegation surfaced that threatened national confidence. The government denied it firmly. Tinubu responded with action, a sweeping reshuffle that eliminated any doubt about where power resides. And supremacy was re-established, not by force of arms, but by the precision of political strategy. Yet, the question remains, did Tinubu truly prevent a coup, or did he simply use the rumor as a tool to tighten his grip on power? Was this a defensive maneuver born out of fear, or a masterstroke that reaffirmed his dominance at a critical time? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has once again proven his deep understanding of Nigerian politics, where perception, timing, and power all intertwine. This is Politique Africa, where we decode the power, politics, and people shaping Africa's future. If you found this analysis insightful, share your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe for more in-depth political breakdowns, and stay tuned for our next episode. Because in Africa's ever-evolving political landscape, every rumor has a reason, and every leader has their moment to prove supremacy.